And we are on the air, and we're back. Starfleet Boy here. Actually, Starfleet Boy is not interrupted in any way for you listeners out there because we're ahead. These are previously recorded, but there has been a small hiatus of a few weeks, and I'm very happy to be joined once again by my esteemed colleague, the Doctor. Hello, Doctor.
Greetings.
Greetings from Starfleet headquarters. Notice anything?
Oh, you've got two emblems on you. You're a red shirt. Does that mean you're going to die at the end of this episode?
No, but this is just in honor of red shirts everywhere. And by the way, this is the engineering emblem there. Badge.
Many engineers have died on the original Star Trek.
There's red shirts in all categories. So
yes.
Many
red
I'm
shirts. Gonna have to look out for you, man.
We've also got a nice little upgrade to the insignia. This is the later updated next generation era.
I feel like I have to wear a cap now.
Oh, what is going on over there? Can say something, Doctor? Oh, Doctor Who. Well, the audience can't see it unless you say something while you're doing that.
Oh, it's my Doctor Who cap right here.
That's the good logo.
We're wearing caps today.
Caps. Your hair looks good though. And Doctor, we're also
my gosh, and a mug. Look at this. All I have is a Zephyr.
I am the Starfleet Boy. I have to look the part, right?
Ah, you beat me. I'll be ready next time.
So today we're having a casual and informal discussion about the Star Trek The Next Generation episode, A Matter of Honor. This is a episode where, you don't remember it, so I'll jump into the summary, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to do this one.
All right, so I guess there's a Starfleet exchange program where officers from other assignments will exchange. We'll come aboard a ship or a space station or whatever and experience life aboard a different command. So we start out with a really cool kind of scene where we meet another Benzite. This one's not. I can't remember his name. Darn it! My memory fails.
Is it Benzor?
No. It's like Morgoth, which I know is not his real name because Morgoth is the big bad from Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion. But
well, Wesley seemed to imply that they all look the same.
Yes, and the Benzite officer agreed with that assessment. He said, we're probably from some similar colony, so of course we look alike. And then Wesley asks, how do you tell each other apart? And he says, well, we just do. Benzites can just do it. So we meet these. That's the only character really that we meet. We do see other exchange officers come aboard, but we don't see them again, and we don't care about them. It's just the Benzite that we care about. And then Captain Picard and Commander Riker are having a really cool gun kata session. Oh, sorry, phaser kata. It's phaser kata session. And Captain Picard and he are talking, and they're talking about the possibility of a exchange on board a Klingon vessel, and Riker is very eager to do this. So he gets ready by what does he do? He eats all kinds of disgusting Klingon food. And then goes aboard and wins over the respect of the captain by following what must be Klingon protocol and basically humiliating his first officer, or his second in command, I should say, and putting him in his place because he questioned Commander Riker's honor. And then there's just a lot of fun kind of Klingon human relations stuff. And then we have basically the Enterprise. What are you doing over there?
I'm looking for the appropriate figures for this episode.
Put mute on. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, do you hear that?
Yeah, of course. It's like clank, clank, clank.
Oh, sorry.
Well, anyways, going back to the summary. You're in rare form, Doctor.
Thank you.
So going back to the summary, both the Enterprise and the Klingon ship contract some kind of skin disease, which is like a flesh-eating bacteria for ships. And soon as the crew of the Enterprise become aware of this, which they become aware of this in a rather late manner, and so it causes a few problems, which we'll discuss in detail. But anyways, well, as soon as they become aware of this, Captain Picard, sets course to intercept the Klingon ship to let them know. But on the Klingon ship, the captain of the Klingon ship has been doing too much drinking or something, because he's extremely paranoid and thinks that this is a plot by the Federation, even though they're supposed to be allies, or by Starfleet, even though they're supposed to be allies. And it's very interesting. Is that Commander Riker?
Yes, it is.
Very nice. So they discovered that it's a so he thinks it's a plot. You're distracting me so much. I am easily distracted, but today I'm more distracted than usual. By the way, I'm gonna break protocol here. First of all, I'm glad you got the headphones. That's very awesome.
I found headphones. Yes,
it's very cool. And thank you for bearing with me with all my technical mumbo jumbo that I make you go through. And it's nice to see you. It's been a while, man.
Yes, thank you. It's nice to be back.
How you feeling?
Back from the other side.
We all know that our beloved doctor had a wee bout.
A wee bout of shore leave.
Something. Not shore leave. It wasn't your fault.
Yes,
it wasn't your fault, doctor.
No. Yes. But Bell's palsy is gone. Thank you.
Yeah, you look and sound like your old self, and we're very happy to
Thank you.
All right, going back to the episode. So the drunken, saturated with Klingon blood wine captain thinks that it's here. Let me crumple paper when you talk. the paper. Oh, say something.
Here is the what did you just call the commander? Blood wine
drunk. Blood wine
drunk.
He was very drunk. I mean, I don't think he was in his right mind, but that's just how Klingon ships roll, maybe. Okay,
I have things to say about that in a moment.
So he decides he's going to attack the Enterprise, and in an earlier scene, Worf gives Commander Riker a little beam out device, and so Commander Riker cleverly tricks the captain, beams him off the Klingon cruiser, sorry, not the cruiser, but the bird of prey, and he takes command of the Klingon vessel and orders the Enterprise to surrender, which is the proper thing to do. Captain Picard sees this play of honor and goes along with it to to go ahead and move things forward, and they repair the skin disease on the hulls of the various ships, and Bob's your uncle. It's over.
Bob's your uncle.
So that was the basic.
No, that's it. That is the plot of the. Yes, that was it. You encapsulated it very well, sir. You summarized it well, because there's not much to this episode, really.
No, but
you covered all the points.
So I never really liked this episode until I liked it a little bit more this time around.
Did you?
Yeah, I think some of the things that were really like annoying to me as a kid was, like I just thought of Klingons as bullies. I associated them with like bullies and brutes, and at the time I don't think I gave this episode the attention that it deserved, because to me it was just kind of annoying. There was this benzite crew member that was annoying, and then there was this captain.
He was very annoying.
Yeah, and then there was this captain who's very irrational on the Klingon ship. That was really annoying. And so I just remember not being really pleased and tuning out probably or whatever. But I gave it the full Starfleet boy attention. And I found some things to like about it.
Like what?
I particularly like we do see the phaser kata scene, for example.
That is cool, which we'll see later on in other episodes.
Yeah, and I had completely forgotten about that. And now I'm like, oh, that was a neat little just life aboard the Enterprise moment.
Yes, it was.
So you wonder, of course these people are skilled, but they practice at what they're doing. You have to. So now you know why Riker's such a crack shot, and he is, mind you. He shows off quite a bit on that.
Yeah.
Another thing I really liked was this episode gave us a hint of there was more of the life aboard a starship thing going on in this episode, which we get a lot of later on. But like Data's in command, for example. You have these interns basically. It's like you have these exchange students, if you will.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
On board the ship. And so I thought that was kind of a cool thing this time around, because I've been involved in situations like that since, and I felt more empathy for the characters, knowing what it's like to be in a strange environment, or to help out in an environment that's not yours. When I worked for a very successful large computer retail group, which is no
Shall
secret.
Go nameless?
I don't know. I worked for Apple for many years.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's a very Starfleet situation, by the way, Apple. just gonna go throw that out there. But
well, perhaps Cardassian, but well, okay.
Oh no! Excuse me. No. No. PCs are Cardassian. They look Cardassian. The interface. Anyways, the LCARS is definitely more of an OS 10 type of deal. Speaking of LCARS, not that I don't know why I feel like mentioning this, but here's a coaster.
Oh my gosh.
that I'm using.
Where did you get that?
That I'm using with my coffee mug.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
Yeah, so a little shout out to the EMP Museum here in Seattle, which is doing a celebration exhibit of Star Trek, which will...
No way!
Yeah, it's going to go on through the end of the year, and there is tons of Star Trek swag.
What are they doing? What do you see at the museum?
Just a lot of cool things like, uniforms and sets and things like that. I actually have to go back, or I think I'm waiting on a picture of me sitting in the original... series captain's chair.
Yeah. How come I haven't seen pictures of this online?
Go look up EMP Star Trek 50.
No, but your pictures. Didn't you take pictures?
No, I did not take. So it's really dark in there, and
come on.
They don't like flash photography. They don't like flash photography, and yeah. Anyways, the thing is that the exhibit's cool and everything. But all this really amazing Star Trek stuff in one location is also very cool. Oh no, people are gonna realize I didn't make my bed. Oh
no one cares, really.
Oh Balda.
No one cares.
Oh Balda.
No one cares.
Well, anyways,
get back to the museum. That's what people care about. So which uniforms are on display at this museum? I'm sorry to take it completely away from the episode, but
we should have another EMP. I'll download you on the EMP because I want to kind of get ready. I want to get to the next episode. Maybe,
okay.
Because I know you're excited and I'm excited about the next episode too. We're just gonna get through it's a matter of honor to get through.
Okay. So are we done with this episode?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh my gosh. What was that?
I don't know. It's not relevant. Oh, here is something that is relevant, though. It's a little... I couldn't help myself. I had to get the 50th anniversary.
Behave. Look at that. 50th anniversary.
Yeah, little pin says
Oh.
Starfleet Academy, and then it has
Oh, wow.
the Trek insignia with 50 on it. So
Wow.
yeah, I'll send you a little list of some photos, Doctor, if you want me to go
Yes.
buy any swag and ship it to Deep
Wow. That's
Space
cool.
Nine all the way out to ship it where you are. I understand you guys are having weather disturbances like in Star Trek 4 out there.
Well, right now we're all clear, but dark clouds are looming.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the probe will soon be thwarted by Captain Kirk.
We're awaiting his arrival.
um, I like that. I liked it. So going back to the episode, this is very
Oh, right, the
distracted.
episode.
We're very distracted today on Starfleet Boy. I really liked the life aboard a Klingon vessel too. There was that really fun dinner sequence where Riker's eating with the crew, and they're kind of teasing him, and the women are basically harassing him a little bit. It's like kind of a fun moment, and Riker handles it very smoothly as he is apt to do. But I don't know if I really if like Riker seems to understand Klingons. I'm still not sure I understand Klingons after this episode. It's just sounds like a crazy ship with this like lunatic captain that you constantly have to massage his ego or knock him out cold, just like when he's not behaving when it's necessary. So Worf describes in an earlier scene that pretty much if a captain isn't fit to captain anymore,
you take him out.
That's it. He has to die with honor.
Right. Well, what's curious is, and unfortunately I'm not fully prepared for this episode, because one of the things I wanted to have was, I don't know if you've seen this, but have you seen the Haze? This is the one of the Enterprise, the manual. It looks like the car manuals you get at but they have one for the Bird of Prey, which came out recently, and I checked it out from my local public library, and it actually goes into great detail about the workings of a bird of prey, including the crew and whatnot. And something that I read that was very interesting, and this is of course very recent. It was published as late as last year. The Federation Starfleet ships are governed by certain rules and regulations. So when you go from ship to ship, you obviously have an easy transition. You don't have completely different culture on each ship. There's the captain. There's certain duties, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And an openness, like
and an openness.
Where you can kind of get away with more on a Starfleet ship.
However, on a Klingon ship, it's very different according to this book, and I wish I had it with me so I can quote from it. But the general idea is that each ship is pretty much, each captain is his own king, and he has his own mini kingdom on board that ship. And each bird of prey is actually, you can almost look at it as being custom, even though the bird of prey they have the same parts that the same molds for the parts. Everything inside is custom made to however the house actually.
Oh wow!
The house commissions the birds of prey. So that's why on Star Trek you see so many different style bridges on a bird of prey, even though you would think that it'll be standard. In fact, there is no standard for a bird of prey outside of the exterior. The interior is always just whatever is the whatever the commander wants. And likewise, the rules on board the ship are they don't really pledge allegiance to a central command. you pledge allegiance first to your house, and then that house pledges allegiance to the Klingon fleet.
We are Klingon.
Right. So if you see in the episode, one of the main objections I had to the episode was the fact that it seemed like this Klingon was suddenly going to turn on the Enterprise, and I'm thinking, but wait a minute, they're allies. Like, this makes absolutely no sense. Why would he do this? Why would he threaten the Klingon Federation?
He was drunk.
Alliance?
He was drunk out of his mind. He was so inebriated and soaked in blood wine.
Klingons can hold their liquor, sir.
No, but that's why we know this captain's on the out. he can no longer hold a substantial saturation level of blood wine. He's just completely...
He's having visions of Kahless.
Kahless
is speaking to him.
Destroy the Federation vessel.
I
mean the Starfleet vessel, because actually I did like there's a scene where the Klingon captain does refer to the Federation as a different entity than Starfleet, and I think
I didn't remember that.
So the implication to me was that the Klingons definitely honor their agreement as a Federation world and believe themselves to be a part of the Federation, but they disagree maybe with some of the things that Starfleet espouses.
But the Klingons are not part of the Federation.
The Klingons are an ally / I mean, they're basically a part of the Federation. I mean, they've kind of...
Wait a minute. Are they?
Crazy. I think they're like Federation...
I don't think so.
I think the Empire is still...
It's its own entity.
I do.
Because otherwise, on Deep Space Nine, remember the Klingons declared war on the Federation, remember?
So maybe, I guess what I mean to say is that like they honor their agreement with the Federation, but not necessarily... They don't necessarily like Starfleet.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure. I always just assumed that by this time the Klingons had joined the Federation, but that's an assumption. You're right.
Right. I think they're still their own entity. They have their own empire.
We'll need to find this out. I think it's important for later on because there's going to be a lot more. Just like the neutral zone brought the Romulans back, I feel like Worf's presence aboard the Enterprise has invited a lot of Klingon, stories, and this is just the beginning. There's going to be a lot of really cool Klingon stories coming up ahead pretty soon.
Well, your characterization of the captain as this, drunk captain and all this stuff. They do kind of come off as drunk pirates in this episode, and as fun as that is, I think that this episode is it shows, I guess, the lack of subtlety that Klingons had at this point in Star Trek. I think later on with more Worf-centric episodes, and certainly after Deep Space Nine and all that, you had a little more subtlety, a little more nuance to the Klingon character, the Klingon culture. And I think in this episode, it just seemed like we were still working from this almost, and I don't think Star Trek V had come out yet, but it was like this Star Trek V mold of Klingon. They're just kind of, like you characterize them, bullies. They were just drunk. Yeah.
But also this
bullies.
Crew in particular might not be, they might, just like the Enterprise, the Enterprise is definitely like the flagship of, the flagship starship of Starfleet and the Federation. So there's definitely a lot of assignments out there that are kind of probably boring. Maybe these are Klingons that are on a survey mission, or like maybe they're looking for new planets to mine, and they're just like, they're sick of it. They're like, where's the honor in this? And so,
right.
There's a lot more drinking and things like that. A note on the remastering. So I did notice, for some reason, we've been watching season 2, and it wasn't, but something different. Maybe my bandwidth was better, and I got a cleaner download. But I thought the color toning and the grading, in particular, stood out in this episode. I noticed skin tones and things like that, and the colors were very rich and clean looking.
Yes, I agree.
And then I also noticed that I did notice that this is perhaps a not so great thing. The Klingon bird of prey in some scenes looked amazing, but in other scenes it did look a little not so amazing. And in particular, there's a scene where at the end, this happens a couple times, but once when the Klingon bird of prey is leaving, I noticed that unlike on the Enterprise where the nacelles and the impulse engines just kind of steadily glow, on a bird of prey, you're supposed to get a pulse, like a pulsation.
Yes.
Because it might be an actual flame of some kind of plasma flame or something like that. Like it's like the Pinto of spacecraft, space vessels. Anyways, so that was just solid, and so not.
Well, again, I go to what the manual was saying, which every bird of prey is custom, and you actually have no standard guidelines for even engineering. Some Klingon houses emphasize firepower over safe engines. Okay, we'll make more room for disruptors because they use disruptors as opposed to the Federation's phasers or Starfleet's phasers. And, we want more disruptor power. We want more room for photon torpedoes. Screw the engines, screw the shielding on the engine rooms. And actually, the book states that the only class of Klingon that can actually challenge a warrior is the engineering class, because often the engineering class is in constant conflict with the warrior class because the warriors just want more power, and the engineers are like, wait a minute, this ship's gonna explode, we can't do that.
That's really fascinating. Well, we get a glimpse of that. The captain of the Klingon vessel sends Riker away in that one moment to go check with the engineering department. We don't actually see the engineering department. That would have been amazing. But it's cool. I do like the other thing I liked about this episode was like the little bit of a tender moment between Worf and Commander Riker when he first gives Commander Riker the beam out, device. Commander Riker challenges him a little and says, what is this, a little sentiment? And he's like, no, I'm just being thorough or something like that, and I thought that was a nice touch.
It was.
What did you think of the other plot, the whole Benzite and Wesley?
Boring. Very boring, and I don't know. And I think the use of the Benzite was sort of, the Benzite didn't impress much. I forget what the name of the other one was in the coming of age episode. So I don't know. It just seemed like maybe, they needed an alien. They said, well, let's reuse this makeup. And
I think the actor too
is the same actor. Yeah. He was just sort of, oh no, of course it's not so-and-so. I'm a different one. I don't know. It wasn't that interesting to me. But I guess you needed something to balance the plot, the main plot with Riker. Although really it would have been interesting to have just had Riker you just had the whole episode with Riker on board the Klingon ship and never see the Enterprise. It would have been interesting if we had just never seen from the Enterprise's perspective what was going on. So in the episode, you only saw you only had what Riker was supposing, which was correct, and the Klingon point of view, and you as the viewer would have had to sort of like, well, but Riker's right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we were kind of deprived of that suspense. I mean, if you can call it suspense, because obviously what the Klingon was proposing is just absolutely wacky. I mean, why would it just... The Klingon commander was just absolutely deranged.
He was addled. His mind was addled. It was complete. But I mean, again, this is cool because that's something I guess Klingons have to deal with. Like, it's a Klingon problem. It's a
Klingon problem.
Yeah,
yes, it is. It really is.
So just so that we're good and proper here on Starfleet Boy, the Benzite character's name is Ensign Mendon.
Oh yes, and he was played by John Putch.
Yes, very good. And then the captain of the Klingon vessel, who I've not been naming because I couldn't remember him either, was
Kargan.
Kargan or Kurgan. It should be Kurgan.
Yes.
They should just have called him the Kurgan.
The Kurgan.
There can be only one.
Only one.
I was having a discussion with a friend of mine who, thought that there was something else that they said in Highlander other than there can be only one. But I think there can be only one, right?
Yeah. What else do they say?
I don't know. Like,
you mean before they take their head?
Yeah, I think that's the only thing they say, yeah.
No, that's it. There can be only one.
There should be a Highlander Star Trek crossover, and it is possible because you know that there are there are immortals.
For the record, I wrote a Predator Star Trek
fan fiction.
I'm sorry, a Predator Highlander fanfic.
Oh,
long time ago.
Was the Predator alien an immortal?
You read it.
I can't remember. My brain's been addled by blood wine.
It wasn't a very good story, so I won't talk.
You won't remind me about it.
I don't want to.
Well, that's cool. I remember that it was probably a good story, and I just don't remember it because I have a very bad memory. And the second officer who I really enjoyed as a character was Clag, and I thought he was a great character because he's kind of like Riker's window, or way into Klingon society, and there was that really nice moment too where he's kind of ashamed of his father who was dishonored.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was dishonored. He was captured by the Romulans. A cool reference to some trouble with the Romulans there. So his father was captured by the Romulans, and he's now, I guess, injured or lame in some way, and so he's just waiting for death, and not out there, fighting the good Klingon fight. And so Clag thinks that that's very dishonorable, and Riker's just a little appalled by that. He's like, "But it's your father," and and then the other Klingon officer says, "Well, we wouldn't even know, he's like, our emotions are different, and it's true. We wouldn't even know how to begin to understand humans and how they feel toward other humans." And then Riker kind of says, "Well, yesterday I didn't know how to eat
gawk."
So I could just see like somewhere later on. I guess outside of that, the only other cool thing is just Klingon bird of prey.
Klingon bird of prey.
The bird of prey was awesome. Have we seen the updated Klingon battle cruiser design yet? Has that presented itself yet?
Not on Next Generation.
So, right? No, not yet. No. Okay.
Wait a minute. No. Because we did see the Klingons in that other episode with the 3 Klingons. Remember?
Right, but they were not on their ship. They were not on.
No, but remember the ship that comes at the end to collect them.
Yeah.
Was that told that they're dead?
Was that a D7?
I think that was a D7. It was the older ship. It wasn't the new one. Yeah, we haven't seen the new one yet.
The new one's called what? The
Qatar or something. Yeah.
Katanga class.
Katanga?
Katanga.
I'm not up on my Klingon pronunciation. I wish I had that book. That book is so cool. I'll have it for the next episode.
Klingon.
While we're speaking of books, of course, I'll include something from our favorite tome here, the Star Trek Next Generation Companion. And basically, the only thing worth noting is that this... the
Vorcha class attack cruiser.
Oh, okay.
Which basically, it's just like a next-gen update to the D7. It's pretty cool. I like it. It looks menacing.
This was the highest rated episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. up to this point.
Oh, well, I'm not surprised. Everyone loves Klingons.
Everybody loves Klingons. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Why do you think that? I'm curious what your thoughts on that are. What is it about Klingons that makes them so fascinating and really just lovable? I mean, you see, since I was a little kid, anytime, I don't think it was even called cosplaying at the time, but whatever, dressing up for conventions, like there's a vast majority of people that dress up like Klingons
because they're drunk pirates. I mean, or drunk Vikings.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of Viking type stuff happening. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
I mean, you get to
and who doesn't love a Viking? It's true.
Exactly. I mean, it's very un-PC. You drink and you sing songs of battle, and you're lusty and you're punchy, and it's everything that Starfleet is not.
I think another cool thing that this episode kind of brings to light is that in space there's room for everything.
Yeah.
Or one should say there is space for everything.
There is space for everything.
Which is why we need to venture out into the stars. I think that different ideologies and different ways of living, there's more space in outer space to do it,
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what humans will become that colonize Mars,
and beyond.
It'd be very fascinating. It's a very interesting thing to have thoughts about, thought experiments about, but it would be really neat to somehow travel into the future 200 years and see what's going on.
I would also say that, on the popularity of the Klingons is, the costumes. The costumes are really cool.
They're wearing what approximates medieval armor, basically. Right.
Exactly. It's cool. They have there's a lot of appeal to the Klingons, and also it's probably the best example of a science fiction updating that I've seen on an alien race, because I mean, obviously the original Klingons didn't look like this. They look like this after the movies, and I can't think of another example of an updating that was just so good, so dramatic. I mean, like for example in Doctor Who, there's people that argue, well, the Silurians don't look as good as they used to, or the Centaurians or whatever, but the Klingons,
there are people that say that the Silurians look better in classic.
I like the Silurians with the third eye up here. Yes, I'm one of those. Yes. And the way they talk like this. Yeah.
Wow.
I like the old Silurians.
Wow.
The new Silurians just look like something out of Babylon 5. Yeah.
They're like the coolest fucking things ever. The new
Silurians. Fucking nuts, man. But we don't discuss Doctor Who on this.
We skirt on it.
We skirt on it, but that's another show. But I think the Klingons just, they really have a cool look to them, and the Bird of Prey is there a better looking ship? I mean, the Bird of Prey is cool, man. It is menacing. Cool.
And it's my father's favorite ship. He really loved. A little shout out to my dad who introduced me to Star Trek. My father is
just as my father did. Yes.
Yeah. My father is responsible for ushering me into this universe at a very young age. We used to watch Star Trek, the original series. It was syndicated and rerunning, and so I remember one of the treats I got as a kid was to sit down with my dad. My mom wasn't particularly interested, but I got to sit down with my dad and watch Star Trek, the original series, and he used to love watching me get scared. If I think he really enjoyed if I got scared at the aliens or whatever.
What was there to be scared of in the original? The Horta, maybe?
When you're a kid, there's a lot of things that scare. I mean, this is like, like me at 5 or 6 years old. Like I have really strong kind of, maybe not memories, but I'm told that I have like that I was very like into it, and I kind of remember being scared of some of the things, and like I'd be like, Dad, what's happening? And he'd laugh, of course. That's
Oh, that's
like,
funny.
but yeah, so a little shout out to my dad. And even though these episodes are recorded, since we're talking about family, and Star Trek: The Next Generation definitely later on will include a lot of family. So Starfleet Boy is going to do it right now. Today is my mom's. When this episode airs, that will not be my mom's birthday. So happy
Today's
birthday.
your mom's birthday?
Today is my mom's birthday. Yeah,
Happy
August.
birthday to your mom! Oh my gosh!
To my mother, and also to a young lady who her name is Azure, whose birthday party I'll be going to later today. Who lives here in Seattle? Who is one of my wards or charges, I should say. It's also her birthday today. Hopefully, she'll get into Star Trek. My first attempts were not very successful.
Oh,
not feeling the Star Trek.
No.
I gotta figure it out.
Oh, how old is she?
She's 9.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'll get her way in. I have a feeling it might be with Voyager.
What's that?
I know.
Oh, that's that probe that NASA sent out, right? And then it shows up in Star Trek 1?
Yeah.
Right.
So let's do you have any more questions or observations about this episode?
No. I mean, I thought, obviously it's, I believe it's the, I just read it. I think it was the first time we had O'Brien's last name.
Oh, were they just calling him Chief?
Yes.
That's so funny.
But he actually got, he was Chief O'Brien in this episode.
He had a really funny line there when he's beaming Commander Riker off to the.
He had a really snarky, little good luck.
He's like, are you scared, Commander Riker? And he's like, no, you should be.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, O'Brien's great. Can we just say that?
Yeah, O'Brien is great.
O'Brien is one of the. I'm so glad that he got spun off into a major part on Deep Space Nine. It's just one of those guys that you always look forward to.
You weren't a part of the discussion, but on the previous episode, which was Unnatural Selection, where Dr. Pulaski's aging, and O'Brien's actually pretty key in developing the method to which they cure
right on the transporter. Yeah,
so, yeah, it was a great moment for him too. So
yeah. I think
time to go give it our 1 to 10 rating here. You go first, Doctor.
This is a 5.
Oh wow! Well, I'm gonna give this episode a 7.
A 7?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to give it a 7. It was more delightful than I thought it was going to be. My memory of it was not as good, so maybe that helped to raise the score a little bit because I was a lot more into it this time around. So yeah. All right. You seem upset. Let's downgrade to 6.5. How do you feel?
No, I don't want to influence your ratings. Your ratings. You stand by them. I think this is a straight middle of the road adventure. It's entertaining because obviously, Jonathan. None of us mentioned what a great job Jonathan Frakes did, or maybe you did.
True. No. Actually, we didn't actually call him out. He was fantastic, super, super fantastic,
and he really hasn't had a spotlight episode in a good while. I can't remember the last time it was really focused. Star Trek Next Generation had really focused on Riker as a character, and this episode does a great job of it. And you see his mixture of charm, charisma, street smarts, just sheer strength. I mean, he's knocking Klingons out at one point, right?
Riker's style of command is just really great and very. I think Picard mentions this in a much earlier episode where it's a more of a casual and informal,
like Starfleet Boy.
Like Starfleet Boy. He's not very formal. He's not stuck on formality, I should say.
No.
Although he does appreciate respect. But Riker's a more, a more collaborative and less, kind of domineering leader. And I think it's wonderful to see him in command also. Like when he's in command of the ship, he's definitely stern when he needs to be, and it's like at risk of everything, because the Klingon crew could have been like, you just like this is mutiny, we're gonna kill you now, but they chose to follow him. So it was a really good, that was really good. You're right.
And it was pretty clever what he did, getting the Klingon commander beamed aboard this, the far superior Starfleet vessel. And I mean, it was cool. I mean, he's smart. I don't think he gets as much credit as he should as a character. I think Riker, he's got sort of a proto Kirk thing going on there.
Yeah,
but he often gets overshadowed by other characters, and
like Captain Picard, which he should.
Well, like Captain Picard naturally, but then also, I mean, think about it. Riker's second in command, but how much of the show ends up being about the third in command, which is Data, which is easy to. I mean, Data is a very interesting character. He's probably a more interesting character. And Picard, I mean, Patrick Stewart's just a dynamo of an actor, which we'll see in the next episode.
Oh my gosh!
Which is just like a freaking.
Hold your horses, hold your horses. We're going there next.
Yeah, I mean, what a fucking performance that is! My God,
Right. So I say I'm gonna go ahead and hold it at my 7, and you're gonna hold at your 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Oh yeah.
5.5. Can we get a 5.5 out of you, Doctor?
No.
No. All right. Well,
we're holding at 5.
Live long
and prosper.
And we'll see you next time.